All right, so everybody has been talking about this level, this whole thing right here. And everybody's been super confused. There's a lot of conflicting opinions. Some people are saying it's, news related or this related or that related. And I think one of the general summaries that a lot of people had come to was, and this is a really important, actually, lesson to talk about and a great way to kick off like kind of a weekly challenge thing. So a lot of people had came to the conclusion that this was a level, and I think too often in trading, we can justify something and then we just hyper focus on it and just snap to it. And I mean, the real lesson here to be learned, and there's something very, very neat here. The real lesson to be learned is that if we just follow our basic set of rules, we can never be wrong. And I'm going to say in the 12 years now that I've been doing this, is it 12 or 13? 12 years. In the 12 years that I've been doing this, maybe 13, I'm not sure. In the entire time, I have yet to been stumped on a chart. And this was one of those ones where I have an invisible mode in Discord. So sometimes I'm just listening to exclusive chat. Nobody can see that I'm there. And I'm just like there listening to just see like, what's going on. Because it's good for me to keep a tap with my community and, just to not have that influence like, oh, Cotton's here. Like I want to be in their natural environment, right? So like this is something that I notice a lot of people talking about, but really made me realize, hey, like I need to make a lesson on this just about following the rules, because I hadn't looked at this move and I was like, wow, it sure did look like it tests that daily level. And I looked at the chart and I said, no, there's no way. It doesn't make sense in the theory. There has to be something else that everybody's missing. So I had opened this chart and I looked and I quickly found it. And you know what? It's really good because all of the confusion around this level is a great reminder to us that the sciences will never fail and that there is something else happening on this chart. And that if we just follow our rule set, which is always working from the highest time frame down and using the theoretical information that makes sense. This level right here, as it is, and some people had it marked back here, and some people were saying like, oh, this is a backside level, and some people said it's a front side level, and some people were saying, oh, it's a weekly deep dive, and all these things. But theory-wise, none of that makes sense because it's not possible for this to be, say, a reverse level that gained over top, and now it's polarity from a larger time frame. Like those aren't existent in the those. Yeah, 1 second here.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries. I didn't realize my screen share wasn't on. So like everybody had said this level, right? Like everybody had, this is the level we're talking about. Just to quickly recap, I haven't moved away from the screen. I've just been talking with this here. So everybody had, made such a big point to say this is a level. And like, it just, it doesn't make sense theory wise how this ever could be the level. So actually, if we just follow our simplest rule set, it's actually right there on our screen. So go to your weekly. Okay, nothing there. Can't ever be this weekly. And I saw that too. I saw people saying, oh, it deep dove the weekly. And it didn't deep dive the weekly. So actually, if we just followed our rule set here and just went from high time frame down and just looked, what could it have possibly tested? So we're here on the daily and there's like, it's like, okay, no, there's nothing there. Okay, so just follow your cue. And then you go here and you're like, oh, wait a second, cool. There's like good 4-hour information there. Maybe this is it, but this is obviously too low and never reached this price, right? So then this would have theoretically made sense. And you've been like, oh, well, I never reached that price. Okay. But then you go and you open the 4-hour and you're like, wait a second, what the heck? There's some kind of like crazy big range here, right? Like it kind of starts from back here and goes all the way up to here. So then you're like, interesting. Well, there's nothing there yet. So like if we just followed our simple rule set and just said, well, time frame down, what do we have? But like I can clearly see that when you're looking at this and you start going down in time frames, there's some type of range here. So you're like, okay, whatever. Well, let's just keep going down. All of a sudden, we have an hourly hold level. It's like, oh, there's a hold level right here. Okay, cool. So let's start dissecting this range and what it could actually be in this move. And you're like, okay, well, if there's an hourly hold level here, we don't need the bottom of this range anymore. And we don't really need this top anymore because we just kind of defined the range. And, there's an inverse level here and that was tested. But then if you go a little higher, you're like, oh, it could be the start of an origin level. So actually, if we just delete this stuff, you kind of left with a little bit of information here saying, oh, okay, there's an hourly hold level here. That's great. And there's what could possibly be polarity in the move going forward. So actually, if we just go forward in the move here, the first thing we want to look at is, oh, it actually hit the hourly hold level perfectly because there was a range there that was untested. So first off, we get one important piece of information saying like, okay, we're attacking the hourly time frame, because the other side of this, when you were looking at the chart from the outlying daily where people had thought that's the daily level, well, then you have to use daily information, right? And you're like, oh, okay, there's actually just like an hourly level here. So let's go back in time. Let's rewind this a bit, because It's not enough to just say like, oh, we have an hourly level there, that's going to get tested. Because, you know, to be honest with you, I see this 4 hour level and I'm like, yo, that's a good level. That's pretty decent. But if we were to, you know, take this chart and take the replayer tool and put it here, you know, we don't have a test of this level yet, but what we do have is a possible origin here. So you get over top of this and you're like, oh, it's over top of a backside level. It's holding this backside level. Okay, so now it's actually giving us all the information we need. So now it's sitting here saying like, oh, you've tested that polarity backside and you're holding that backside polarity. So like, okay, that's an important piece of information. So this is tested. Now let's find another hourly backside because it already gave it to us. It's like, okay, here's hourly backside. Oh no, that's hard close broken. Let's just move up. Okay, here's an hourly backside. Oh no, that's hard close broken. Let's move up. Okay, here's an hourly backside. So if this information was accurate, theoretically, according to the sciences, this backside got tested. So now you should be testing this backside next. And if that's true, then we know this is an untested part of that bigger range back there. So we can just simply delete this first origin level backside. And now we know like, hey, we should probably take this rebuy because if it's true, that means we are confirmed that we're on the hourly time frame, right? Like we've confirmed that. And we can just hit play here. You know, I'm just going to skip the replay because it might take forever to get there. And let's just go to that moment. So it's like, okay, here's good. Let's follow the trail as we do with reverse levels. Look at that. We have hourly backside being tested perfectly. So we just follow that trail and we're like, nope, can't be that. There's no hourlies here. Can't be this. You have one here and then you just keep following that trail. And then you have there, here, here. You also had an origin here too. So you have, oh, actually it's right here. There it is. It's in existence before. So you do have your hourly backside trails being followed. And oh my God, look at that. It hits it perfectly and holds the move, right? So now you have another hourly backside confirming the move, right? And then you have your next hourly backside confirming the move. So actually, when you pull up all the way back to here and you split this range apart, you are given the answer to what's being tested on your chart. Like we go back to this daily and we mark this daily. And the context of this daily would mean that, hey, we have to ladder off of daily levels now if this is what we're testing. So there's a very interesting difference here because if it hits the blue line, we need to, and it's not about which price is lower. It's about which one in theory makes more sense. Because if that were true, then we would need to test this level here, which we never did. And you can't say that this is the level being tested because that daily level there is pushed through and it goes after that hourly, right? So there's a very stark difference here, which is it's showing you which level is testing and it's telling you what time frame you're on. Like even going all the way up to here, and we can go back to that hourly and we can just continue to follow this trail. So like you test this one, right? At this point, what you need to do is you need to make your next hourly origin level, which is right here. So you have to get above this now, just like you did in the past. You have to keep laddering these backsides because we can see that this is tested right here. So that's gone. So now we have to get above this. And when we don't, we're going to start back testing the ones that we haven't tested yet. So here's your next origin, right? And when that breaks, you're going to go after the front side of the move. This one's tested, so we can get rid of that. So we have this origin here, and if this breaks, it'll go after the front side of that move, which it does perfectly. It goes after the front side. And when that breaks, and remember, this one's already tested. When this one breaks, what's left? Your next hourly origin, because there was nothing left on the charts after that. All these ranges had broken back all the way down to here from the onset of this hourly here, where it held. And it built up that architecture all the way through here. I believe it was this one here. So it tested this, built that, tested this, built that, tested all the one up here, built that, broke that one down, couldn't create a new range up here, couldn't create something above this. So now we start going and back attacking the other way. One after this, one after this, one after this. This one was already gone. This one was also gone because that's part of that first range. And then it just went after the next untested level and gapped straight to it. And then it went up and it went over top of this, right? And then it finally broke this level here, and then it was free to continue moving on, right? Now it was free to continue, keep going throughout the course of its move here, right? So like that was a huge point of controversy, and a lot of people had marked this as the daily when really if they would have saw it was the hourly, they would have had like 6 or 7 perfect buys after. They would have had like all the perfect buys in the world. They would have had like all the good spots, and you know, you could have done the same thing with the daily here, right? And gotten that same kind of information daily there, right? And then you follow that trail of backsides. And then the next backside would have been here before the collapse. But you see it more intimately on the hourly, and you see it more relevant and more it's more important on the hourly because you can actually catch the moment on the hourly. Catching that daily moment, you could be going, for 2, 3, 4% underneath that, but then the hourly timeframes give you everything you need, and this daily is now in play up here. So you tested this daily, which means you're likely going to go back down and test this daily here, because now you're being shown like, here's the daily information. Now you're going to go back down because this follows the rule set. This was origin polarity. That was a perfect call out. We did that on stream at 28,730. And there was a reason for it, because it follows the rule set. You see, this level doesn't follow the rule set. It doesn't give you what you need. So there was a ton of controversy, and everybody had missed like the whole trail of this move and why you should have been just marking those hourly backsides and rebuying them, because it showed it to you from the very first start of it. And all you had to do to see that was one simple thing, which is follow the rule set and not get too caught up into just marking things because they line up and make sense. Because this sure, it looks good on a chart, but it doesn't make any sense. This makes perfect sense, and you can see the justification. And all you had to do was be like, oh, wait a second, I went time frame down. There's a range there. Find the biggest time frame hold level. Just go down. Oh, there it is. Oh, cool. There's an origin here. Yeah, like awesome. Oh, it back tested. Let's just buy the next one right here. This should be pretty perfect. Let's just buy that next one. Oh, look at that. It's perfect. Right? So everybody had missed this. And it's just a really good reminder that when we look at the sciences and the way these things work, we have to always follow these simple rules. And you will never really make an error. Like, the sciences don't fail. It's just sometimes we don't see it. And then sometimes we are, assuming it's like this daily level, and I don't know this, and this is not something Cotton's taught yet. And, I'm missing information, but that's not the case. So the case is that you just weren't following the rule set. And it actually very simply showed you everything you needed to know, every single test of every hourly, every single backside. And when it failed the backsides, you should have been like, oh, it can't gain this backside. I need to short. Like, even up here in time, like before all of this stuff happens, like you're up here, and the first hourly backside was this one right here was one of them, right? Like, this was one backside, and this whole chart the whole time had been showing you it was attacking backside levels and gaining them. And there's this one right here. So like, if you walk through this move and you're like, oh, okay, it tested our polarity, it goes here, let's gain this level now. Like, let's gain this, because this isn't hard closing, right? Like, this is that origin level right there. There are no other, this wasn't an origin level. This could have been an origin level if it had tested it a second time, but this actually becomes an origin level right here. So that's the first one in existence that isn't broken. So like, when you don't gain this, it was like perfect short territory. Like, you can see how even the architecture of this move, like, you can even see, if you look at this move, you can even see where that battle was had for this hourly and why this thing collapsed so hard. Like, you could probably go to a 5-minute candle here and see like, oh no, I think we lost time frames because it's too old. Come on, it's gonna give us a 15. It did. It gave us a 15, right? So you can even see that like, it tried to gain the 15 here and failed, and then like something like this would have been like a perfect rebuy, or like even polarized further, right? Like something even that's hard closed, can't be that. So it's got to be something like in here. There's got to be some kind of like trail of events here. There's an hourly rate here. That's could be the polarity of the move. And you have a 15 here, but the problem with a 15 is it's broken, so you can't use a 15. So it's actually the hourly. So the hourly, once you didn't have the ability to gain this hourly, that polarity on this side was the perfect moment, and it just kind of like completely reversed the charts. Like, it completely reversed the charts, right? Like, everything you're seeing here was dictated off of this, and then you just start laddering the move down, right? Like, I think people miss this completely, and these back tests of these levels, even down to like right here or wherever it was in here, like all of these back tests of these levels, like it was showing you that it was laddering down, because that first short starts here when you can't gain that level, and there's that right there, falls sinks right to the level, and so forth and so forth, then just drops right down to the next level. You'll see this gap happen. There's no levels left between, so you'll see the big gap happen, and people are like, "Well, why did it dump so hard? And it's so crazy. It just dumps off the face of the earth." Well, yeah, I mean, like, that's what happens when you follow the correct trail of information. You get literally the perfect shorts, longs, buys, sells, and then it just went after that range. So now the architecture is building off front side hold levels, and now you can just what you attacked was the daily off of that, right? Like, you just take that replayer tool off, and you know, what you attacked is the daily up here, that daily backside, which was, in my opinion, always meant to hit. And so now you're here. Now you're here between two daily origin levels, like backside against backside, right? And then just mark this red, and that's kind of where you are. So you can see just by simply following that trail of information correctly and following the rule set, you are given like picture perfect trades. Like this is draw a picture of what perfect trading looks like. We just did it, right?